Yo, what's going on? Real quick before we get into the video, I did just want to say that I run these trade recaps or like trade reviews every day in my Discord at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you would like to see your own trade review or just see what I took, then pull up to that. It's completely free. Same with everything on the YouTube. So yeah, let's hop right into it. So obviously, as all things, we start on the high time frame. What did I notice both ES and NQ doing? Well, we finally rebalanced some of this range. Like we came lower, finally hit this new week opening gap that I've just been praying for, and we're not at all-time highs. So thank God. But going into the day, we are in this new week opening gap, and at the time, because this is after, but at the time, we essentially just left this entire leg of imbalances, which is super important because what if price rebalances imbalances, so seeks them out and seeks out liquidity, and we just swept out liquidity and then hit this opening gap. So what imbalances in liquidity we just swept, and now we have an abundance of them above. I was obviously bullish, right? And we also had this little AMD framework as well right here. So accumulation, manipulate into the new week open gap, and then we have like a second accumulation still leaving these highs intact, which is perfect. So none of my draws was taken out. Now I don't really have an SMT for this trade, so it's not really needed for the recap. Until later. But yeah, going in the day, it was really just like, okay, we have a ton of stuff up above, but again, like we did just dump, like we could just then burn through these lows, but I wasn't really wanting that. And into market open, we have a very nice Judas. So 9:30 opens around here. What do? Well, do we manipulate to the buy side? Not really. We leave all of this LR. We still have this open gap way above us, but instead we do manipulate below us, sweeping out. Sorry, this is getting a little cluttered. Sweeping out this intermediate low inside of a 15-minute gap and this new week opening gap. So we have manipulation aligning with the high time frame bias in a high time frame key level after 9:30 open. So we have a very good PO3. You can even see it here. We don't really have a crazy run higher. I know we were in that 15-minute gap, but again, leaving all of this LR, it's just not going to happen at 9:30 open. So we end up running up, kind of chop. I did see some people taking entries here, but none of them were really valid. But then we get where my actual entry comes about. Now I don't have the 30-second time frame on TradingView, but at the beginning of the video where I showed that screenshot, you can just see the inversion there. But this setup had really good displacement and an SMT. So given the fact that we are bullish and now we have a bullish SMT, a 9:30 Judas lower, displacement higher with very low resistance targets. Like at this point, we had this 4-hour gap right here. So we had a 4-hour gap. I hate whenever it does this. So we had a 4-hour gap. We had like this entire leg is imbalance. So the draw higher is really nice. 15-minute again, looking at all this liquidity. So just above us is low resistance liquidity with a high time frame imbalance that we need to seek out, because even if we want to be bearish, what are we going to do? Well, if we want to be bearish, we're going to have to manipulate in a bearish gap. So bearish people want these highs because they want to manipulate, and bullish people want these highs because they just want to distribute. So this is an agreed upon liquidity pool, and therefore very high probability. And then I take this displacement right here. I have my stop loss at the body low of it. You can see from the screenshot at the beginning, but my entry was like somewhere around here, body low right there, and then just instantly towards the TP. And the reason why I really like this trade is it's a continuation as well. Like you can see price wicks into this gap and just instantly distributes. That's what you want to see with your trades because it's aligning with the high time frame bias, and it essentially means that your draw on liquidity is perfect. Now, I did have some people complain about this setup, say that like, oh, like Ronan, this wasn't a good continuation, but why do I still think it's good? So the main argument is my key level. It is true that I don't have a 5-minute gap and I don't even have a 4-minute gap, but I do have a 3-minute gap. Now, the reason that I wasn't really worried about having a 5-minute or having a 4-minute is once price manipulates and we start to distribute, that's it. Like the model is not needed. We do not need a mechanically strict model for price to distribute. Like I promise you, price didn't just inverse this gap and it's like, oh fuck, dude, I didn't let them have an inversion entry, bro. I got to go back. Like the market's not thinking that. We got our entry, or we got our manipulation, we got our distribution. Price is just gonna run. And then whenever I see price manipulate into, wait, is this even the? Oh, this is a little bit too early. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Never mind. Whenever I see price manipulate back in a 930 opening price, which does act as a PD array, it's a time key level, with that SMT and then just the redistribution with all that displacement again, I'm like, there's just no way. Because, you know, like we had this 5-minute close. We closed very healthy above that, have a change in the state. And it's like at this moment, am I anything but bullish? You know, like I just saw 930 manipulate lower. We have the most obvious AMD setup I've ever seen. The high time frame has swept out. Sell side liquidity, bullish imbalances are mitigated, but everything to the buy side is unswept liquidity, unmitigated bearish imbalances. Like the draw is so obvious that like literally any setup at this point works. And we still got a very high quality one. Like we still have, again, the manipulation with the SMT into the key level and then the inversion. You can see on the low time frame here, like this is like very LR if you go back to that screenshot. And then we just instantly surge towards the TP. So very, very clear day. This is how you want to approach it with a high probability DOL because you have a high quality manipulation. So it's like you just want to pair them all together. Don't focus on the model too much. I know that this isn't like super strict and like comparable to my other videos, but still a great trade that I stand by. And it's honestly a good introduction to discretion for y'all. So yeah, definitely a big benefit. And that's really about it. I don't really like making these long. I don't like wasting y'all's time. So if you did enjoy, make sure you subscribe, pull up to the Discord because I do these reviews every day at 11 EST. So if you want your trades reviewed, if you want to see what I took, and then get like a full explanation, then go ahead and pull up to that. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed.